Hello, friends. Welcome to this online lecture series on structural failures and repairs of structure. In this particular subject, we are going to focus on a couple of very important aspects related to the field of structural engineering. For example, we start with the discussion of condition assessment of structure or evaluation of structure, because until and unless you are able to have a sound observation of the various effects or the various site conditions, other than that, you cannot decide on the remedial measures. Right? So that is why it is going to be very important for us to first focus on the condition assessment of the evaluation of the structure and then focus on the reason. And once this reason will be identified, then you will be able to suggest a suitable remedial measure. And that is exactly the sequence that we are following this subject, and that is how we need to proceed. Let us start with this subject, which is named as structural failure and repairs. Right. So if we look at the little bit background regarding this particular subject or the need of this subject, then it is basically related to the various construction failures that we see in day-to-day life. For example, detailed investigations have suggested regarding the construction failures that there are several reasons which can be attributed to these construction failures that we observe all around the world. If we list down a couple of these failures as listed down over here, then we can say that these the major factors that contribute toward the construction failure over the years are: first is the inadequate or inefficient or deficient. Now, these terms that we are mentioning over here are very serious terms in a way. Where, for example, if we talk about inadequate design, inefficient design, or deficient, right? So all these three terms are going to have different meanings, and this can have different kind of complications on the performance of the structure in real life, right? So inefficient maybe in terms of the codal provisions, maybe in terms of the reinforcement detailing, maybe in terms of the design calculations, or maybe in terms of the structural analysis that you are doing. So all these four factors may attribute and may lead us to inadequate or inefficient design in the structure. Then the second is use of inferior quality of the materials. That everybody will agree, right? That we see to it on a daily basis on the site, that with the passage of time, the quality of materials that are being used on the site is reducing day by day, or it is deteriorating day by day. The reason behind thing is the process of economizing the project overall, and in order to achieve this economy, we often compromise with the quality of the material that are used on the site. Then one of the other reasons that can be attributed is the poor workmanship. Now, the main reason that we can relate with the poor workmanship is the absence of skilled labor. For example, if we talk about particularly a country like ours, which is India, then in that case, everyone will be agree that we do have a tremendous need for presence of skilled workers on the site. But unfortunately, we do not have them, and since we do not have skilled workers on the site, as a result of that, the quality of workmanship is not maintained on the site. Also, again, the same reason that I can relate here is the competitive process that is there between the contractors and the construction agencies regarding the regarding the bifurcation of the construction projects. So it is a very competitive process or competitive atmosphere right now, we can say, in the market, where everybody is trying to grab hold of the projects in order to take the projects. Very competitive bidding is done, and as a result of that, it ultimately affects the workmanship of the project on hand. Right. So poor workmanship is also one of the important factors that can be attributed to the construction failures that we see in day-to-day life. Then, along with that, the other factor or other reason that we can consider for construction failure is the premature loading. In case of premature loading, also, because several times we see that during the construction activities, certain portion of the building or certain structural elements are overloaded. For example, the load of formwork, right? So when you talk about premature loading also, then in that case also we can say that whenever the formwork is erected on the site, then if the formwork is erected for the higher floors, then the possibility is that these formworks are supported on some cantilever projections or horizontal projections on the beneath. And as a result of that, what is going to happen is that these cantilever projections are going to be overloaded, right? And sometimes what happens is that there is taking of materials also when the process is going on the site. For example, if the construction work is going on site where the brick masonry activity is there, then the bricks are also stacked on the slab. Along with that, the sand is also stacked, cement is also stacked, and at the same time, the quantity of water is also not maintained as per the ratio that is there. So as a result of that, premature loading can also be attributed as one of the main reasons that can be related to the construction phase. Then early removal of formwork, again same process is that two many major requirements that we see in today's construction project is: first is to achieve the economy, and second is fast completion of the project. So the contractor is always in a hurry to complete the project, and in order to achieve the timeline of the project, he often uses this technique where he wants to use the same set, or he wants to reuse the same set of the formwork. So as a result of that, he will not allow the structure to gain sufficient strength as per the codal provisions of the criteria of the codal provisions, and he may remove the formwork on an early basis, and then he may reuse that particular formwork on the above floor, right? So when the below supporting members have not gained sufficient strength and you are in a hurry to remove the formwork, then as a result of that, construction failure is likely to take place because of this early report of the. And lastly, very important criteria is absence of inspection, because the role of site engineer cannot be ignored in any construction project that is there, whether it is a small scale project or a big scale. The presence of an inspector itself on the site is going to ensure that 60 to 70% of the quality is going to be achieved on the site, right? But again, same thing happens over here, that you need to pay a certain amount of wages in order to ensure the presence of that particular site engineer. And in our country, we are seeing on a daily basis that people are giving the work directly to the contractor, and particularly to the labor contractors. And they are not hiring even the turnkey contractors also. And work is given to labor contractors in case of small scale. So as a result of that, what is going to happen is that when labor contractor is there, then the possibility of having a site engineer is very minimal. And in that case, the absence of inspection is there, and due to this absence of inspection, if proper checking is not done, then the quality cannot be maintained on the site, the drawings cannot be properly referred on the site, and as a result of that, it may result into construction here in particular case, right? So these are some of the, there are several other factors also we can discuss, which we will go on discussing further as the subject progresses. But these are the initial points that can be related to the overall reasons that we have for the construction. So as a result of that, it becomes very important for us to understand the reasons that are related to construction failure. And once we understand the reasons, then we can suggest the remedial measures which come under the part of it, right? So in this particular subject, we are going to talk about the several units or several topics, and the sequence is going to be the same. That is, first we are going to start with the condition assessment or the evaluation of this. So when I talk about condition assessment of the structure or evaluation of the structure, the point of discussion revolves around that whenever you do a site visit, what are the important points that you need to see during the site visit? What are the observations that you need to make? What are the decisions that you need to take? There will be some aspects where you need to note down particular things. You need to take photographs, you need to take videos, and based on these entire, what you can say, documents that you will collect, you come back to the office, you analyze the entire situation, and then you go back to the next stage, that is the to find out the reason for the construction failure, right? And once the reason for construction failure is available, then you can go on to the third objective, wherein the objective can be repairs and retrofitting of the structure. So the first unit is going to discuss about the condition assessment. Then the second unit is going to be related to the durability of the concrete. Now, very important aspect related to the construction, right? Durability of concrete is going to be one of the most important aspects. And when we discuss further, you will realize over here that some of the images that I will share, then in that case, you will see that to what extent this durability of the structure is going to be important to the overall performance of the structure. Because very detrimental effects are there in case the durability of concrete is not paid attention to, and that is why we are going to discuss in detail regarding the various types of attack, that is the sulfate attack, acid attack, corrosion, and we are also going to discuss regarding the carbonation of the concrete, right? Then the third unit that we are going to discuss is regarding the failures in plastic concrete, right? Plastic concrete is basically known as the fresh concrete, right? Fresh concrete is basically the concrete which is going to be, you can say the concrete which is in a state immediately when it is going to be placed. So when it is going to be immediately placed, it is going to come in contact with the atmosphere, and there are certain other reasons also, right? So which can result in some kind of deformation of the fresh concrete. So when these reasons will come into the play, then as a result of that, some types of failures are initiated at the plastic concrete stage. So that is what we are going to discuss in detail in the third unit, that is failures in the plastic concrete. And the fourth unit is going to be regarding the failures in the hardened concrete. So once the concrete is going to be set, then again there are several factors and certain parameters based on which the life of the concrete structure can be affected. So we are going to discuss regarding these reasons which are going to affect the life of the hardened concrete, and as a result of that, it will affect the overall performance. Now, once we are aware about all these factors that are going to be there, Then we can go on to the third objective, which is going to be our major objective, and that is regarding the repairing or retrofitting or the strengthening of the structure. And in that case, the fifth unit is going to be the unit where we are going to start discussing regarding the repair materials. And these repair materials, wherein we are going to discuss regarding the characteristics of the repair materials, characteristics of the parent material, property of the repair materials, chemical and physical properties that are going to be affecting the performance of these repair materials. Right? Then we go on to the sixth unit, which is again a very important part of the evaluation of the structure, and that is non-destructive testing. Right? We are all very much aware of somehow regarding the non-destructive testing. So we are going to see several tests along with the application and also the criteria that is mentioned in the IS code, with the help of which you will be able to conduct these non-destructive testing on site. And lastly, the seventh unit is going to talk about the strengthening of the structure. That is, once we are knowing that the failure has occurred, and if our objective is regarding the strengthening of the structure, then how can we, what are the different methods or what are the different measures that we can take based on which we can do the strengthening of the structures, right? So this failure can be global failure also and local failure also. So we need to identify whether the failure is global or whether it is local, and then based on that we need to suggest a strengthening method, and that is what is going to be covered in the seventh. And lastly, the eighth unit is going to be about the structural audit, where we focus on the aspect of, you can say, the enlargement of the structure or increasing the height of the structure. For example, if a building is constructed, originally designed as a G+3 building, but however, due to some change in the FSI or the rules, then as a result of that, you are able to now construct a G+7 building or a G+6 building. So is it possible for you to convert this actual building, which was designed in a G+3, to be converted into a G+6 building? If yes, then there are certain procedures that we need to follow, and that is what we are going to cover under the last unit, that is the structure. Right? So if you look at the overall pattern in which the syllabus is designed over here, then it is designed in such a manner that we will start with the condition assessment of the structure, to talk about the several construction failures, then you go to the repair materials and the repair strategy, and lastly you end up with the structural audit and the strengthening. Right? And if you talk about the application of this particular subject, then it is basically going to be applicable in three particular categories. Where first category is the evaluation of structure. Wherever the evaluation is needed, right? We go on in the next lecture. We are going to start discussion regarding evaluation of the structure, and then we will see the objectives based on which the evaluation of structure can be. So whether if the structure is going to be, there is a change in occupancy, whether some kind of distress has taken place, if you want to check the structural adequacy also, then it also get that case also the evaluation of structure. Then the second application is regarding the understanding of construction failures, because as we have listed in the first slide, there are several reasons based on which the construction failures. And unless and until you are able to understand the failure, you will not be able to provide a suitable remedial solution. Right? So it is necessary for us to understand the construction failure. Once you are understanding the construction failure, then you can go to the third part, which is known as the repair and retrofitting of system. So these are going to be the three major applications of this particular subject that we are going to talk about. Right? So these are a couple of reference books that you can refer for this particular subject. And I hope that this subject is going to give you a good amount of insight into the real life problems that we face into the construction industry, and it will enhance your knowledge as a structure engineer. I look forward to your contribution in the further lectures as well. Thank you.